Has your greatsword gone limp?
Sharpen your weapons with the best weapon mastery in the D&D 2024 Player's Handbook.
Shing!
What's going on, YouTube? I'm the Mind Flayer Slayer.
And I'm Dr. DM, and today we're bringing you the mastery properties, which you've probably seen in a lot of the martial character classes in the D&D 2024 Handbook. Are you wondering what they do and which ones are good? We're going to give you our thoughts on all of them today.
Starting with Cleave, you'll find this on the Great Axe. If you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack roll using this weapon, you can make a melee attack with this weapon against a second creature within 5 feet of the first that is also within your reach. On a hit, the second creature takes the weapon's damage, but don't add your ability modifier to that damage unless that modifier is negative. You can make this extra attack only once per turn.
So I kind of like how this has a comeback. It's a renaissance in Cleave, because you saw Cleave in previous editions of D&D was very popular for certain builds, usually
Incredibly
barbarians,
so.
and other games too, right? Like Diablo, you have a cleaving barbarian, the whirlwind barbarian, right? This has some modifiers to it where you can only make it once per turn. So it's not like you can just hit a creature and then
just keep going.
Yeah, because the previous rules was that you would hit one, if you kill that one, you go to the next one, you go to the next one, go to the next
So
one, right?
busted.
Infinite attacks. But here, it's nice. It's a nice extra attack that doesn't take your bonus action or reaction or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I mean, you know, there's tons of classes that are going to be using great axes, and this is just going to be boosting your damage, and anything that boosts your damage is good.
Yeah, and there's nothing here that stops you. You don't have to make a con save or a strength save. It just happens. Now, maybe you'll find a weapon that can eventually have longer reach, or maybe you have a species that has longer reach. That'll help you get more range on that, maybe hit multiple creatures. Now, it won't help with a boss, but if you're trying to slay the boss's minions or like a big horde fight, this is a great one to have on hand.
Fabulous, for sure. Next up, we have Graze, which is for the Greatsword. If your attack roll with this weapon misses a creature, you can deal damage to that creature equal to the ability modifier you use to make the attack roll. This damage is the same type dealt by the weapon, and the damage can be increased only by increasing the ability modifier. So, this is huge. We have all felt that horrible feeling of rolling and missing and feeling like, you know, maybe you're a character that only has one attack or it's early levels of play. Not being able to do anything on your turn because you missed an attack roll really is a bummer. Especially if you're like so close to hitting it. And this allows you to get just a little bit of damage in to feel like you're doing something. I really like this change.
I do as well. Now, I wouldn't say it scales terrifically.
Of course
because,
not.
But if you end up getting multiple attacks and you miss most of them, you'll get some kind of like extra damage in there that'll help you kind of go the distance and plug in that miss. But at higher levels, when you're getting advantage in a lot of your attacks and going beyond like the bounded accuracy, then it's not going to help you that much. I'd say probably better at lower levels, but a good thing to have anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up, we have Nick. You'll find this on daggers and scimitars, for instance. When you make the extra attack of the light property, you can make it as part of the attack action instead of as a bonus action. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. Okay, this is fantastic. You're going to see this in many builds all across D&D 2024 characters, wherein you don't have to use your bonus action to get that offhand weapon attack. You can put it as part of your attack action. And then if you have a certain correct feats, then you can also take an extra attack with your bonus action. Although a lot of things you do, such as smites and hunter's mark, take your bonus action already. But this is a good way to make sure you are dual wielding and it's effective even if your bonus action is not available.
Absolutely. Love this. Again, any of these weapon masteries, it's a huge improvement. We've seen a lot of other TTRPGs use them, and I'm so glad that they are part of D&D 2024.
Agreed. And then with Nick in particular, I like the dual scimitars, which are probably the best way to use Nick.
Yeah,
that's something you see like Driz use, right, in the novels, the Forgotten Realms novels. So it's a really cool flavor feature and a good power boost going forward.
100%. Now we have Push, which is going to be with the Great Club. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can push the creature up to 10 feet straight away from yourself if it is large or smaller. So this is just like the repelling blast that you get as a warlock that you can use with your different eldritch cantrips. So again, I love how these give a little bit of a flavor of sort of spell casting in a way. I mean, it's not it's definitely not that, but it gives the added abilities that spellcasters get to add to their attacks now to great weapons.
Yeah, and if you're a fighter, this is a good way to make sure you can do something and you're not just limited to I attack, I attack, I attack. So everything you're doing is going to have some element of battlefield control or just give you more options within your kit. And this one in particular is interesting. It's almost like you're doing like your batters up and pushing your 10 feet back. I don't think this will see a ton of use. I wish it said like prone, although you will see that later on. So it's good for certain classes and might not be able to use like martial weapons. So I like this.
Agreed.
Sap, you'll find this on mace and other weapons like that. If you hit a creature with this weapon, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. So this is a little limited because it's only they're single next attack. So at higher levels, when bosses are doing multiple attacks, there's lots of creatures around.
Yeah, it's not going to be as effective, but I think that at lower levels, I mean, giving a creature disadvantage is huge. I mean, so this is fantastic. You can also trade these out as you level up.
That's true. Or if you have multiple weapon properties, you're switching out weapons during your turn and doing whatever it is you want to do, whether sapping or pushing or a whole bevy of options. So
up next, we have slow, which is going to be for weapons like light crossbows. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to it, you can reduce its speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. If the creature is hit more than once by weapons that have this property, the speed reduction doesn't exceed 10 feet. I wish that the speed reduction stacked.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be better.
If you're dueling like hand cross or light crossbows or whatever, yeah, or you have like a team of them going together. Yeah, you're stopping, like they get hit, like, and they're stopping in motion. Now you can stack. There's certain like barbarian abilities that lower speed, and that I don't think those are stopped from stacking. So it's interesting. And if you're a range attacker, of course you don't want somebody to get them close. So it's a good property to have, and it kind of auto applies too.
Absolutely. Now we have Topple. If you hit a creature with a maul or a similar weapon, you can force the creature to make a Constitution saving throw, which is a DC 8 plus the ability modifier used to make the attack roll and your proficiency bonus. And then on a failed save, that creature has the prone condition. So being able to knock somebody prone is no joke.
This is insane. Yeah, you find this in like Eldritch Smite, right, as part of that property.
Yeah.
Now, it's not automatic here, but being able to do this every single time you attack, you might frequently get it if you're like a multi-attacker, right? I love this. I think this makes Maul kind of like, and that kind of weapon, kind of a premier weapon, because on your first attack, if you have multiple, you're then subsequently getting advantage attacks, as well as anybody else in your team before the monster or opposing creature has a chance to get up. So
I fully agree.
Incredible. And plus, you can use your strength on this, and their save isn't strength either, because that's usually some of the, like a big ogre or a giant. That's going to be like their best stat, but con, it might not always be very good.
Correct.
And for example, spellcasters probably isn't good at all. So I can see this happening and pretty often, and getting advantage, huge.
Absolutely.
This is a premier weapon mastery.
Premier.
And finally, we have Vex, which is like for short swords and weapons of that caliber. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your turn. So it's almost like a mini Topple, if you will, although it's automatically applied.
This is true.
And if you're like dual wielding with a short sword, you can do that, and you have advantage on your next hit, for example. So it's not bad
at all.
Not bad
Not at all.
It's a good one to have in certain builds. So
yeah, some of these are better than others, but I think that they all add a lot to D&D.
And a lot of character classes get this, so it's really fun to mix around. And maybe in the future we'll see like feats, and maybe it can let you get a weapon mastery, or even like multi-classing will work that way. So get ready to make some cool builds
100%.
that really make your weapon go the distance.
Well, this has been our coverage of the Weapon Mastery in the D&D 2024 Player's Handbook.
It's exciting.
It's very exciting. If you're enjoying this content, please remember to smite that like button, leave a comment down below. We love engaging with all of you, and subscribe. We are going to be continuing to bring you daily content until we get through the entire Player's Handbook. Sundays are the only exception to this, because we will be doing our regularly scheduled campaigns in full cosplay with green screens.
Where we will vex you and topple your emotions.
I love it. Also, if you are wanting to support us, you can go over to fanrolldice.com. You can type in code GG10 at checkout, get some great shiny math rocks, and there will be 10% off of your order, as well as giving us a little bit of a kickback so that we can continue to make this excellent combat. And if you want to support us even more directly than that, you can now join our YouTube membership.
So you want to cleave that join button, which you'll see soon, if not already, and graze us in the comments. Yeah.
So, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.